Hey everyone, welcome back to the Jeep Journals, and today I want to talk about the power of imagery. And behind me over my shoulder you'll see imagery, you'll see on the wall imagery, you'll see all kinds of creative concepts. All kinds of imagery, even in the way that you see me. So today I saw a post by Mary Kate, and Mary Kate is, I guess, a guide, a spiritual guide, just like we all can be for one another if we've learned some kind of insight and decide to share it. When we don't share that knowledge, or if we constantly place those pearls before swine, as told in the good book, the one that we get offended by, if we continue to share knowledge in ways that are careless, in some cases, we might just take it for granted that all the resources that we deserve or we think we deserve in the world and are asking for are free. Now, you guys know as much as I do that I have a lot of guitars. If you don't know by now, then stay tuned and I'll show you the rest of them. The fact of the matter is I enjoy quite immensely playing guitar. So I have a lot of guitars and they each can be used to tell a story. You know, they can each be seen as a villain or a mascot or in the form of a parable. These are real life things that I'm talking about. So when a lot of people decide to buy Felicia Me, the reason is because we have these talks that are a little bit more complete than some people might have with just the general public, who oftentimes can only resort to talking about what's on the media. And by what's on the media, I'm not trying to pigeonhole a segment and say that we only know certain things. But when we can only talk about sports, whatever the current events are that aren't sports, and the weather, and we cannot relate on any other term, or even if we relate specifically, almost exclusively on another term, like for an example, the love of wildlife and nature, and the wanting to continue to talk about wellness and conservation, even when we want all of that for one another, theoretically, if we see imagery that turns us off, we may never see the message. And almost like confirmation, check this out. Now the fan wasn't on just a second ago, it just turned on. I'm turning on the fans, I guess is what this means. So turning off the fan right now. It'll take a little while to spin down. When we don't understand synchronicity, when we don't understand that the law of attraction does in fact work, and when we don't practice what we're preaching, and by that what I mean is be careful and mindful of what we're spelling into existence. When we don't do that, sometimes we can run into a great shortage. And in this era, the great shortage, I think, is going to be human capital. And by that, what I mean is I see a lot of people who are going to be unable to complete the work that's given to them due to a number of health-related or otherwise ailments. And there's only going to be a working population that's going to be able to restore all of these attributes. And how we see one another sometimes determines what role that person actually deserves to fill, and thereby which income that person is able to be responsible for. So in my videos, I talk a lot about self-control, responsibility, and being able to abstain from a myriad of things, and how every comfort-related convenience that we have and pleasure-related is just basically an opportunity for addiction. In my role, I find that I talk a lot about addiction because it's probably the subject that I am most able to, without question, out knowledge you in. And I don't mean that in a demeaning way. What I mean is the general public who will see me a certain way with imagery and won't understand what I'm saying might only see a bad energy coming from me, bad moon rising. Fact is, I talk about law of attraction, energy. I can use the word yoga without getting offended. I understand that exercising is part of spelling, and exercising demons might be the reason the word exercising existed to begin with. Who knows? What I do know is that I can either be happy and manifest happy things. Did you ever see that guy, Bob Ross, Mary Kate, or whoever's listening to these videos? Did you ever see that movie? Not the movie. Did you ever see that person, the painter, Bob Ross? He was happy. So a lot of what he created was happy. That doesn't mean everyone around him was happy, or that he wasn't happy when he was off camera, or that he was happy when he was off camera. What I'm telling you is the art of creativity, the action of creativity comes from something known as joy. And if you've got the joy in your heart, you can, clap your hands. If you have joy in your heart, you create. Some people might see some of the creations I make as monstrosities, atrocities. They have a message. There's duality in everything that I showcase. Everything that I enjoy has another side. That's why, you can't just truly love something and never consider the side that you wouldn't love. You can't. That's just the way it is. So when you try to add these things up that don't add up, or that don't cancel each other out, then you have a shortage or an overage, depending on which side you're on in terms of the wishing well called law of attraction. When we have loads and loads and loads of stuff and we don't free it up for the rest of the economy, confirmation, when we have loads and loads of things and we don't free them up for the rest of the economy, we are like collectors. So I have a lot of camera gear that I used to take a lot of pictures with and share on the platforms that I was on. I've mentioned that I've been banned from everything from regular storytelling groups, which I myself was a member of and would run, all the way to my favorite band of the past's music fan club. I've been banned from those conversations. The worst conversations are the conversations where we get banned from having conversations with our fathers because of basically the inability to talk about full subjects. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to watch this and see it or hear it, and so I'm not trying to be exclusive to any type of segment, especially showing imagery that can be quite powerful, entertaining, and so forth. All I want to say is that to be able to communicate fully, I think that we need to be able to communicate with people who we think are not in our own groups. So this mainstream concept of saying that it's okay to not talk, it's okay, it's not even okay, it's advisable that we don't talk with one another. I mean, when you really start looking at it, you've got fathers and sons, brothers against brothers, who, you can't make this stuff up. The stories that we run across over and over, brothers against stepbrothers, brothers against stepfathers, brothers against stepsisters, brothers against stepmothers. You've got, it's against, everything's against. We know how to do everything against, but who's setting the example of how to do something in favor of? So in order to recognize both sides of duality, it's really compelling. And when you start writing lyrics that have to do with that, you can really turn off a whole segment really fast. And I know that because I have witnessed and accomplished some incredible things with my journey, where I've been showcasing music in conjunction with wildlife and nature to talk about the message of wellness and conservation, which again, I believe go hand in hand. In the interest of conservation, I'm selling off an array of gear that I'm not using while I'm using this other gear instead. And so I challenge you to help me accomplish my mission of funding my journey so that I can tell this story without the fear that I have obligations that I will never be able to satisfy if I'm not able to participate in the same exact economy that anyone else is, by coming up with creative solutions to negate all of the mass hysteria that we've been currently under the influence of, addicted to. So when I talk about addiction, I talk about it on a holistic level in the name of peace. And even when your voice is shaking with truth, in fact, a lot of times that's when you know that that's all you got. You're ready. You know, the adrenaline to keep you awake for days if you need to accomplish what you're going to accomplish because you're having fun doing it, will be there. That's wellness and conservation. And sometimes we have to store up energy for those tough winters, like in that song that I have called Valley of the Ancient. Skin and bones. Sometimes there will be lean times. On that note, I've been recording for long enough for today. I just wanted to record this and say that I've still got auctions going on eBay right now. Check the description. Please click on the comments, click on like, click on subscribe, share some of this content if you think it's relevant, if someone could use a bit of inspiration, because I myself can use inspiration by meeting the people who would participate in the economy that we're talking about today, talking about building, talking about not just building, but actually doing it. You know, faith is great. Faith without action is just, it is a dream. You know, there's no reality to it. Faith plus action, though, we can move mountains, and the distance that we can cover, immense distances, with the help of one another to accomplish those tasks that we're wanting to accomplish. And we all deserve to share and help someone else accomplish their dream. We all deserve to do that, because not one of us has gotten to where we are without someone else sharing their dream. Whether we are in a lack for consideration for our own selves or for others, where we are is no mistake. And we're here placed in that way so that we can bisect and dissect and trisect and basically obliterate all the walls that used to be there. I've still got my Jeep. That's another tune that I wrote, to the tune of I was able to pay off my Jeep. So, you know, however you see that, whether it was because of an income that wasn't there, or an income that I was hoarding up in advance, or an income that I still deserve, or an income that I don't deserve, no matter what you think about it, the question is, do you believe in your dream? And you have to know that I believe in your dream. That's why I'm here, trying to support the common vision and provide some alternate means of health so that we can discuss wellness and conservation with, and most importantly, for sure with, our fathers. Have a great day. Peace, love, and all that old school stuff. Thanks for watching.